I'm going to begin this year, 2015, with a year in review of 2014. With gold and silver, we once again had down years. Silver opened up the year 2014 slightly above $19 and ended up actually below 16. Interestingly enough, actually, my predictions in December did end up coming true because I sent out notices to my clients, my platinum clients, on December 2nd, saying, I'll read this to you, quote, I believe that the probability that gold closes the year above $1,204 is not that high. I still think the probability it closes over this level, which is $1,204.50, is not that high because from a psychological standpoint, if the anti-gold pro-US dollar banking cartel can ensure that the price of gold closes below this, then they can litter the mainstream media with nonsense garbage headlines of gold down for another year, gold bull officially dead. Thus, it is very important to the cartel to try to ensure that gold closes the year lower than it started from a propaganda selling point. Now, at some point in December, gold actually went to $1,240 an ounce. So I reiterated my belief actually on December 10th, and this is when gold reached $1,240 an ounce. So knocking gold more than $40 down an ounce is no small accomplishment for the next 3 weeks. But I stated I still firmly believe that it's very much an important goal of the pro-US dollar, anti-gold, anti-silver banking cartel to try to paint the gold charts so gold closes below its year opening price so they can flood the media with rubbish headlines like another negative gold year signifies death of gold bull. So it's interesting because gold was at $1,240 that day. And actually on December 31st, on New Year's Eve, gold actually went up to $1,203.90. So $1,203.90, but it ended up at $1,179.50. So even on New Year's Eve, they're working very hard because I said from a propaganda standpoint, very important for them to knock the price down. So note that I predicted very early on in December and again on December 10th that this would happen. So now you know, because my prediction came true, that what I believe will happen to start 2015. You'll see a lot of propaganda from all the usual suspects like Goldman Sachs, Citibank, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, about all these anti-negative gold headlines to start 2015. It's because if gold had ended up just at $1,205, even 50 cents higher, and then where it started at $1,204.50 at the beginning of 2014, then you would have seen that they couldn't basically do those propaganda headlines because gold would have been up for the year. Now, interestingly enough, on that day, on New Year's Eve, it went up to $1,203.90. So basically flat for the entire year. But what did you hear the whole year? You heard the US dollar is the strongest currency in the world, but yet it was basically flat up until the last few hours of 2014. It's basically flat versus gold. And since gold actually rose against the yen and other weaker currencies, gold actually would have been the highest up until a few hours left in 2014. Gold against all other fiat currencies would have been the strongest currency in the world. But of course, you never heard those headlines because it's all a game. It's all a propaganda game. So just be aware of that. Also, interestingly enough, in 2014, you had a story that gained headlines really early on in the year, which was suspicious banker suicides. So there was a lot of conjecture, speculation out there that certain banks were killing off their high-level executive bankers because they knew too much about their criminal behavior. Some of the most prominent of these was Gabriel McGee, who apparently jumped off the headquarters of JP Morgan building in London. And who was Gabriel McGee? Gabriel McGee was one of the IT specialist there that implemented the JP Morgan's proprietary trading platform, which of course JP Morgan bankers use to rig stock markets and to have perfect trading quarters. So he would know the most about the criminality enacted by these JP Morgan bankers and how they use technology to do that. And he suspiciously died, and his parents said that JP Morgan bankers were their behavior was so appalling that they never even contacted them, even though this happened on work, on a work site during the work environment, actually at the JP Morgan office building. He said no JP Morgan executive had the decency to contact them to let them know that their son had died at a work site. So that was very, very suspicious. The other very suspicious banker suicide was a banker that actually ran a company out of Denver, Colorado in the U.S. And they said supposedly that he had killed himself with a nail gun. His name was Richard Talley. He's the CEO of, again, a Denver-based American Title Services. And they said he launched 7 2.5-inch nails into his gut before launching a final nail into his head that killed him. So that, again, of course, it seems suspicious because why kill yourself with a nail gun? And probably shooting yourself in the abdomen is one of the most painful areas you can shoot yourself in. And why not just take a gun and blow yourself away? That's the way you're going to kill yourself. So in any event, as of August, I saw a website that compiled 48 very suspicious banker suicides or deaths. So I'll put the link below so you can check that out yourself. And in 2015, what do I expect? Yes, I expect more banker suicides because as this global Ponzi banking scheme becomes precariously unstable, I think we're going to see more people oft that know a lot about the global bank's criminal behavior. So I think you're going to see this trend continue. Whether or not it gets the same media headlines as last year, I don't know, but I think you're certainly going to see that continue. On a non-banker note, but everything is kind of related to money in banking, right? Even politics. Because every war always has to do about money, so that heavily involves bankers. And another interesting story in 2014 was the disappearances of Malaysian Airlines 370 and Malaysian Airlines 17. So I believe it was 370 was the one that flew over Ukraine. I hope I'm not getting the flight numbers mixed up. But with 370, originally the propaganda was that it was a surface-to-air Russian missile that shot the plane down. But a lot of people in the West never saw that the Malaysian government officially disputed that. The Malaysian government officially attributed it to Ukraine fighters that shot the plane down, or at least NATO fighters. And there was plenty of photos of the wreckage that was riddled by 30-millimeter bullets. So I'll put that link too below so you can check that out. If you still believe that the airline was shot down with a Russian air-to-surface missile, you'll see it was riddled with bullets. So it was brought down by fighter jets that had gone up and shot it down. Who knows who those fighter jets were? The Malaysian government said that there were Ukrainian fighter jets that had done it, but there's still, basically to this day, exists a lot of evidence contrary to the official U.S. NATO story, and evidence that brings the official narrative certainly casts a lot of shadow and doubt over that. Now, interestingly enough, I believe it was last month in December, just several weeks ago, an AirAsia airline disappeared. Now, the interesting story about that was there was a Chinese blogger that had warned people not to travel AirAsia because he said an AirAsia flight was going to go down just 13 days before it happened. Now, again, of course, maybe it was just a coincidence. No one knows, but it's a very, very interesting story because here, let me read you exactly what that mystery blogger said. Apparently, this is what he said. He said he called the group Black Hand that was responsible for the AirAsia crash. He said, Black Hand hijacked and shot down MH370 and MH17. Again, that's the Malaysian airline flights. This has pretty much killed the 6th largest airline, Malaysian airline. Now the Black Hand is targeting AirAsia to ruin this airline because it too belongs to Malaysia. Given how powerful the Black Hand is, I suggest that all Chinese planning to travel should avoid AirAsia so that you don't disappear like those on MH370. Now, at the time this mystery Chinese blogger blogged that statement, people have called him a conspiracy nut job and a kook. And the interesting thing was that he seemed very intent on warning as many people as possible because they said he was spamming that particular blog on many, many websites across the internet. And then 13 days later, the AirAsia plane went down. So that's just something interesting. Again, I'll put the link below to that blogger's comments if you want to read about it, because it just seems kind of curious to me, and it's a interesting thing that's going on right now with the geopolitics tied to banking, of course, and the whole instability of the global banking system. So a lot of people are projecting 2015 as the year that the U.S. stock market will blow up. Now, predictions like that, of course, they're always made because it makes very good headlines, but does anyone really know if it's going to happen? Like I said, with all the predictions of gold going to the moon, it's over going to the moon. No one knows what year is going to happen. You can look at the fundamentals and say, yeah, they support these predictions happening in the future, but no one really knows. And markets change so much from a week to week and even month to month basis that you have to look at the data that's going on at the particular time to try to get a good estimate of what's going to happen in the short term. So that's what we do at Smart Knowledge. To start the year, we're going to see some more volatility in gold and silver, and it may take some time to get some traction. Again, I have to evaluate the data as it comes in to know exactly when it's going to get traction. But I'm not going to make any ridiculous predictions like, gold's going to double this year, or every year you'll see those gold to, 2,000, silver to 50 this year. And we simply do not know, but we simply know that there is a tremendous amount of danger and risk in the financial system, which I think a lot of people have lost sight of because the propaganda by government officials and bankers have been so good. What else? Oh, to start 2000 or to end 2014 to start 2015, many of you probably have heard that there is a stampede on the Bund in Shanghai, which you can see in the background of this video, and that 36 people died, and unfortunately over 40 people were injured. And originally, the original story that came out before it was verified was that there was a club promoter that had thrown fake money from a balcony, that people had basically stampeded and stomped other people to get this money and caused a lot of people to die via asphyxiation. So I was hoping that original story wasn't true, because I remember reading at the time and thinking, how sad is that? How sad, even if that was real money, because the largest bill in China is 100 yuan, which is roughly equivalent to 15 US dollars. That's the largest bill. So there's no 1,000 yuan bills. There's no 1,500 yuan bills that would represent like $100, the same equivalent as $100 note in the United States. The largest is 100 yuan. So I was thinking, how sad is people willing to die, kill each other over $15 notes, equivalent of $15 notes. But thank God that story, the original story, ended up not to be true. My message for 2015 is I hope people focus on things other than money. Because yes, I do realize that money is important. You need money to eat, you need money to live, and that in itself is important, because they always say money becomes unimportant when you have enough not to worry about it, correct? But most people don't have enough today in every country in the world where they do have to worry about it. But I hope that brings our focus back on love, humanity, compassion for other people, because that is really what is truly important in life, and that's my message for 2015. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, everyone, and as always, remain intensely curious. Until next time, so long.